Welcome, heathens and witches, to the Horn
and Cauldron podcast.
Yeah, we're back at it again. We'll get the business out of the way real quick. If you're listening to this on your podcast network of choice, don't forget to leave us a review. That's how we know you exist and are listening. We're looking for good listener number 10. And if you don't get that joke, then you're probably listener number 10. Welcome.
Or you just randomly found us, and this is the first time, in which case,
good luck.
You're welcome.
Yeah. If you're watching this on YouTube, which these are also available on YouTube, so you can see our faces during. Yeah, make it weird, right? Yeah. Whatever. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and do all
that
the
other good stuff.
Do all of the other sundry stuff that we ask you to do with the bopping it and the twisting it and all that other nonsense. So let's just kind of get right into it. It's almost Ostara.
Can you believe it?
So oh my god, this year has
cannot
gone by
believe
so fast already.
We are already almost halfway through March.
Oof. Yeah. Oof.
But also, that means the time of my birthday approaches, and I'm quite excited about that.
I mean, I'm pretty excited for spring to get all of the work I have to get done because I have like a bunch of landscaping work and construction work and engineering work and like just a bunch of stuff to do, and I can do none of it in the absolute pouring rain that's Northern California has been bringing
since
of late.
The last 3 months.
Yeah, since before Yule, dog.
Yeah.
It has been a bit of a thing. But
at the same time, it means we're probably not going to be in a drought this year. So we are happy about that.
So that's good. Yeah. We definitely need the rain, but just like a chiller form. Do chill.
Yeah.
About it.
Let's
rain.
stop with unprecedented
rain,
levels.
Do peace. Yeah, do peace, rain. So it's almost Ostara. So this is Ostara 103.
Yeah. So Ostara is the pagan sabbat that is about, Easter and spring. Ostara. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
Ostara.
Yeah.
It's sort of named for a German goddess of spring and rebirth, Eoster.
Yeah.
Or Eostre. I'm not entirely sure.
Eoster.
Yeah, Eoster. And Ostara is held on Olestra? No.
Olestra, that's a different thing entirely.
It is.
Yeah.
So Ostara is held...
Ostara sounds like the rabbit that lays eggs in the He-Man universe.
Does it?
Yeah,
is there a rabbit?
Ostara? No, there's not, but it sounds like it, right?
I thought there was a
Oh my god, how have you never seen all of He-Man? Every single episode, 100% of the way.
That's why I was like, is there something I forgot?
No. It's just like, Chitara, Ostara, Ostara. It all sounds very...
See, you said Ostara, and I went to Ishtar, so we went in totally different ways.
No, different thing.
Yeah.
Different thing entirely. Anywho.
So when is Ostara?
Now.
No.
2 nows from now?
Close enough. So Ostara is...
I don't know how any of this stuff works, dude. Most of the time, I don't even know what date. Listen, let me tell you a super double secret about being self-employed and working from home. I don't know when it is ever. Yesterday, I was trying to take a knot out of... I was trying to take 4,000 knots out of a single yarn that for our Etsy shop. And I looked up, and it was 4:00 in the morning.
But also
already.
But also part of that was because of the time change.
I mean,
so
an hour of that was part of the time change. Still unacceptable. I feel like it took me 4 hours to undo all those knots. Real upsetting waste of time. But it's beautiful yarn. So worth it? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. So now we're gonna jump right into it.
Or not.
Or not.
Yeah.
I feel like
Ostara 103 flower magic. Take some flowers, do some magic. End of episode.
Every time I try to say this first line.
It's never gonna happen. Go to number 2.
The spring equinox is the time when Ostara happens, which is also known as the vernal equinox. It is the beginning of astronomical spring, and equinox just means like equal day and night. So we are coming up on the time where day and night are equal, and then very shortly day will start to outpace night all the way until the fall equinox in September.
Yeah.
And that's, of course, in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, Ostara is in September, and they are coming up to the fall equinox now, which would be Mabon season in southern hemisphere. If we have anybody listening to us there, I guess.
Upside down. They're upside down.
They are upside down.
Everybody knows about that.
Yeah. So this is the second spring festival of the pagan sabbat wheel. The first one being Imbolc, and the third one being my favorite, Beltane. Well, it's hard to say that that's my favorite because that's my birthday. Because I'm like,
festival
my birthday is
festival?
almost Beltane, but then there's also Samhain, which is like Halloween, and it's really hard for me to choose which one I love.
Beltane's fun, but it pretty rapidly is concerning.
Yeah, things get a little out of hand for us during Beltane.
Things get a bit Craytown during the Beltane. We have had many absurd Beltane gathering.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Yeah.
So that's a fun one. That's a fun one. It's no it's no Samhain. Samhain's the fire right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when spring comes, the world is like waking up from winter.
When spring sprungs. And
seeing that life is returning. And it's like a joyous moment in most cultures throughout the world. And in the world, I don't know where I was starting with that, but cultures throughout the world have been celebrating the spring equinox for literally thousands of years, with the oldest recorded celebration being like 4,700 years ago. So that's like a long time.
It's like 15 days. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 15 days. A very long time. The most number of days.
Yeah.
Festivals for the spring equinox, wherever you are in the world, are generally associated with beginnings and oftentimes eggs and rabbits. They are kind of everywhere. And flowers as well as rebirth.
Which makes sense because, like, if you have chickens, now's the time that they're starting to lay heavy again. And if you live in a place that has flowers, now's the time that they're starting to bloom and such.
And if you have rabbits, livestock
or any sort of livestock, but it's especially like virulent proliferators like rabbits.
Yeah.
Then like now is the time for such proliferation and whatnot.
Exactly.
So, I mean, you kind of see where like the telephone game of like broken people not connected to their food stuff has been like, Easter is about rabbits that put eggs down. And you're like, yeah, gold.
Very specifically, they lay chocolate eggs.
Yeah, they lay, rabbits lay chocolate eggs.
Yeah.
Note to everybody, don't eat chocolate rabbit eggs.
Yeah, don't eat anything
chocolate. You buy them from the store.
Out of a rabbit. Yeah.
But you don't find them in nature. Yeah. You know what we don't have, or at least I haven't seen anymore? This is just like a question out there. Leave a comment below about this if this is something that both you remember and if you see it nowadays. But I remember as a kid, there was always the Easter Bunny form of Santa Claus.
Yeah.
During Easter time.
Yeah.
And it was always the most nightmarish shit humanly possible. Every single Easter Bunny costume from my childhood was just like some fucking vague, fluffy Donnie Darko levels of nightmare stuff.
I mean,
in fact, I have like buried on my hard drive somewhere an old family photo of like me and my brother and my sister as like very young kids.
Oh no.
Just all of us were in various stages of fuck this entire place.
No, we did not wear Easter costumes.
No. We visited a bunny.
Oh,
and that bunny
I don't know that
pure nightmares. But I don't know if they do that no more. I don't know that
they really did that when I was a kid. At least we didn't go to it.
I don't know if they do that no more. I don't know if that was like just like my town or whatever kind of a thing. Like I don't think that like it was just my town. Like I imagine this is like a common thing or whatever.
Probably.
But like I feel like the only holiday mascot we get nowadays is Santa Claus.
I mean, we do. No, I'm pretty sure
Uncle
that you
Sam
can still see the like Easter Bunny at the mall.
Can you go still see the Easter Bunny in the mall?
Yeah, I think so.
It's been a very long time since I've been to the mall. They are awful.
The most horrifying Easter bunny costume that I can think of is the Easter bunny from Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure, when they go to hell and Bill has that nightmare and the Easter bunny is there. It's kind of funny. Pretty horrifying.
It's pretty bad, but it's kind of funny.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. That one stays with me forever. So aside from Easter bunnies, like it's also a pretty common practice, especially in Eastern Europe, but this kind of happens in smattering places throughout the world, where people welcome spring by killing winter, either by burning or drowning effigies of winter or deities that are like
effigies of deities that personify winter.
Yeah.
You don't gotta like go into the woods and like hunt a deity at the top of a mountain.
No, please don't do that.
Hold him under until the last bubble goes bloop or something like that.
No, we're not gonna do that. I've seen Princess Mononoke. I know how that ends.
Yeah.
We're not doing that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
So we talk about that in Ostara 102 and also a little bit, I think, in Ostara 101. Ostara 101 is more of a general focusing on like an overview. Yeah. We talk about the goddess Ostara. We talk about eggs. We talk about rabbits. 102, we talk about rebirth traditions. And you can find both of those. I don't have the episode numbers, but they exist.
Yeah.
So you can check those out if you'd like some more information, because here we're really kind of going into a deep dive about something a bit more specific about Ostara. And before we get there, I just want to mention like Ostara and Easter have like kind of really no connection in terms of dates, because every once in a while somebody asks like, hey, why is Ostara in March and Easter is like in April or whatever, or whenever Easter happens to be? And that's because Easter is based on a specific set of dates that they calculate, whereas Ostara is a set like moment in time. It's always on the equinox.
Ostara is always on the equinox, and Easter's one of those holidays that, like, you know, it's like the first Sunday in the full weekend in April, or it's one of those, like, you know how we have like weird holidays that have like weird insane rules for how to choose the date, like sometimes it's the 5th and sometimes it's the 9th and sometimes it's whatever the fuck, like it's one of those things, you know what I mean? You know, like like how Labor Day is like one of those holidays that like is on like Labor Day is the Monday following the first full weekend in September, except for the times when it's the Monday following not a full weekend in September, but we don't talk about those times.
Yeah. So it's like that. So those are different. Some people actually choose to celebrate Ostara on Easter, and some people choose to celebrate it on the equinox, but we're season people, so celebrate it during the season.
You don't need to be like, it's gotta be on this date or whatever. Like, you know, you can celebrate it whatever makes the most amount of sense to you. Like our what came before this, Imbolc?
Yes.
Yeah, our Imbolc was like way later than Imbolc because we had to wait for seeds to show up to do the planting.
And also we hadn't done like our family Yule, like Yule / Christmas / Hanukkah.
Our family Yule was like mad late, and like we still had like I think on actual Imbolc all we did was like just like cook a meal. Right. And then we had to wait to do all the rest of the stuff that we were planning on doing because we had to wait for like seeds and such.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do it like on the day of, and especially if it's like, oh, it's this Sabbat. I always forget that word. This Sabbat's like on a Tuesday. Well, like if you work, man, just do that shit on Saturday.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like honestly, I'm that way about like my birthday. It's like, what is this, on like a weekday? Whatever, just push it to Saturday or whatever.
No, I'm going to celebrate both for the birthday.
I'm not that. It ain't nothing that important.
No, I don't work on my birthday ever. No, that's just not how I roll.
Yeah, I 100% have worked on my birthday for many years. It doesn't matter to me.
Nope.
It's an arbitrary date, in my opinion.
It is my own personal New Year.
Yeah, I mean, that is technically accurate.
Yeah, so I celebrate it as a New Year. So speaking of New Year, this is kind of the time of year that we're starting to see new flowers pop up as the palpable signs that winter's icy grip is loosening and life is coming back to the land. People have been assigning meanings, healing, and magical properties to flowers for literally thousands of years, basically longer than we have record. We believe that people have been doing stuff like that. And
some flowers smell good. Some flowers you can eat. Some flowers look like the shit that they heal inside of you. Flowers.
Some flowers kill you.
Powerful. Yeah, some flowers are poisonous. Some flowers produce a bunch of fucking seeds, and you just eat those or whatever the heck, Yeah,
and that makes no better time than now to talk about flower magic, even though flowers are generally a bit more associated with Beltane than Ostara, but by the time Beltane rolls around, you'll probably be missing some of the cool flowers that you can work with.
Yeah. Well, and if you're in California, prepare your body for a super bloom. Is what I've heard it being called because of all this rain and storms that we've been getting out here. There, and the freeze because we had a bunch more snow and really, really cold temperatures. So we had snow down to below 1,000 feet at a lot of places and such like that. That they're saying that this year is going to be a super bloom because it requires a deep freeze to kill off the competition. So that way wildflowers can take over. And there's already evidence or whatever, signs or whatever, that the wildflower blooms this spring are going to be mad bananas.
Yeah.
So
we're definitely going to be checking out something about that. Be prepared
for that. We'll probably have to do a hike to a nice wildflower place and do a vlog or something on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, totally.
So stay tuned for that. I mean, we live in the redwoods, so we're not. The trees are always alive.
Yeah, we live in a forest of
winter doesn't have much of a grip here, but but still, it's going to be wildflower central.
Absolutely,
in the foothills and such.
Yeah, in the area that we live in, we can definitely find a bunch of wildflowers. So in this episode, we're going to talk about Floriography.
Yeah.
And that is essentially a way to communicate with flowers either by themselves or in an arrangement. That is where the flowers are doing the talking for you.
Sure. Yeah.
So Floriography has been around for quite a while, but it really, its interest really exploded in the Victorian times.
Sure.
And people often exchange small bouquets called talking bouquets or nosegays or posies. Yes, I know that's a flower. It's also a bouquet in this. Or tussy mussies. A nosegay, these names are
tussy mussy sounds inappropriate. Demonetize. Tussy. See,
yeah,
that sounds
yeah. We're gonna get demonetized for that.
Bro.
It is. So a nosegay is an ornament that appeals to the nose. It makes your nose happy. A nosegay.
Yeah.
And
I've never heard that term before.
Really?
I'm super here for that.
Yeah, I definitely have.
Yeah.
But I definitely did not really know what it meant until I was doing research for this. So there were these bouquets, whatever you want to call them, were usually really, really small. So small that they could easily be carried or worked into a fashion accessory.
Like a corsage.
Yes, like a corsage. Yeah. Absolutely. In fact,
you can thank Victorians for your weird panic attacks about making sure that the flowers match a dress that you've never seen and maybe only had a photo sent to you.
Not the Victorians that would make you freak out like that. Yeah. These kind of bouquets became popular in the medieval times, but were everywhere during the Victorian times. And in medieval times, these tussy mussies were, it's so weird I have to say it, were usually worn either on the head or on your bodice if you were a lady.
Sure.
And there is some evidence of men wearing them, but largely it was kind of ladies wearing them, but that's not always the case.
Sure, yeah.
Especially when you have to deal with rank and station and class and also differences between where people lived and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So in the Victorian era.
I imagine dudes only wore it when they were particular dandies or, whatever those guys that were just fashionable dandies were probably all about those tussy mussies, if you know what I'm saying. But I'm
not necessarily. It really sort of depends, and we'll find out why.
Sometimes you gotta tuss that muss, bro.
I regret everything.
Yeah, you should. Tussy mussy is knowledge I did not need to know. And now that I have, I'm going to use with malicious aforethought.
I hope you use it all the time.
Yeah.
So
go to a florist and be like, excuse me, ma'am, I would like to order a tussy mussy. And she's like, get out of this place right now, sir.
I mean, they might just be like, yes, what kind would you like, sir?
Oh,
Stoneface.
yeah, right? They're probably used to it.
Yeah, because if I was somebody who worked in that industry, I would like prepare my body for that.
Oh, for like absurd conversations.
Yeah.
Certainly,
like when I
certainly.
worked in the bank branch, people would come in and be like, "You got any free samples?" And you had an answer for that.
Yeah.
Like you prepared your body because you knew that was going to happen at least once a day.
Yeah. You just lean over and you just go like, yeah, it's 7:00 tonight. And then you lean back and then you just pretend you didn't say that shit.
No, I tell him.
Because we're closed at like 6 or what.
No, I would tell him.
I don't know what time banks close at, honestly.
I would tell him that we give out free samples on Sundays.
Oh, yeah, because they're always closed on
Sundays. Because they're closed Sundays, yeah.
Nice.
So unless somebody was being a jerk, and then I would just like stone face be like, no.
You're like samples of money or samples of accounts? Because I can open some new accounts for you right now. Yeah.
I didn't work for
what
that.
What do you want,
bank.
14 savings accounts? We'll open all these right now. Three of them have already been opened during this conversation.
Did not work for that institution. So anyways, because there was such an air of needing to be proper in society during Victorian times, Floriography flourished. Because it meant that people could send each other bouquets of flowers, or even single flowers, saying messages that they wouldn't dare say or write in proper society.
What did we watch just recently where they were doing something similar to that? They were communicating with fans.
Yes.
It's like that, oh, she's doing this.
That was Enola Holmes.
This lady over here doing one of these and one of these. I don't know about her, or fucking whatever.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah. Now, the first list of flowers and their meanings was published in French in 1809.
Yeah.
And in 1836, an English version was published by a different author. So not like they translated it, but like they translated it and also added their own zhuzh.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they're different cultures.
Adapted, really, is it? So it's likely that the original author got her inspiration during the late 1600s from the court of Constantinople.
200-year-old author?
Yeah, I'm a little unclear about this, but that's
this author learned about this in 1600, so,
Yeah, so I'm a little unclear about that. Was she there? Did she study it?
Who wrote this first book? Who's this French lady? Is she a vampire?
I mean, she had a name, but I don't remember it, and I didn't write it down, so it's fine. But anyway, so it's likely that she got her inspiration from the Ottoman. Yeah, right.
Like,
well, if you think about it, that is one of the places that Vlad Dracul is supposed to have been.
It's that. Oh my God, what is that?
There's that whole movie about it where the guy wears that absurd red outfit.
In Rick and Morty, when the gym teachers teacher like Mr. Ferratu.
Yeah.
And the vampire's just like, you gotta come up with less conspicuous names.
No, I was thinking about the Dracula movie where he's got that absurd red armor. Because a bunch of that takes place in the Ottoman Empire. I don't remember what it is.
Is that the one with Keanu Reeves?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he has red armor in that one.
It is not that one.
Doesn't he? Oh, man.
It's a newer one. Where they're like in the cave. It's a vampire movie where every time we watch it, we're like, this is going to be good. And then we watch it and we're like, oh my gosh, this movie is awful.
Oh my God.
Why?
Yeah. Where he has the bat fist.
Yes.
Where he like punches the ground and then like a fist of bats emerges from the sky to like murder all the Ottomans or whatever the fuck. Yeah. That is a terrible movie.
Yeah. It is based on some interesting historical bits. I don't either.
Yeah.
It's like Dracula Untold. That's what it's called.
Yeah, damn.
And
go watch that movie. It's funny, but not good.
You're not welcome.
Yeah, you're not welcome. You're not welcome.
But I know that is based on some sort of historical stuff, but I don't remember all the details. And maybe this is it. Maybe that's the thing.
The pitch meeting is what if we did 300 but with Dracula and nobody questioned that, which was the mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it had so much potential.
Oh, it did.
Anyway, so in the Ottoman Empire in the late 1600s, Floriography was kind of starting to boom. And the French sort of were like, hey, we like this. Let's take it. So these flowers. So the interesting thing about Floriography is the flower meanings behind them are very much like how we see magical correspondences. Not necessarily that they are the same things, but you see that things are pulled in from a variety of different places to get these correspondences.
Yeah.
A thing that we've talked about
herbalism
before.
And like culturally normalized attachments to things,
Exactly.
Like conceptually, like in a place where like the royal family is known for like white roses, a white rose would have more symbolic like importance for like class than in a place where like the royal family is like all about tulips.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And you're just like, look at all these white roses. They're so cheap right now because like tulips are mad expensive or fucking whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so some of these meanings are inspired by like magical tradition. So for instance, juniper means asylum or protection. But for magical correspondences, we usually look at one of juniper's properties being banishing evil and protecting.
Yeah.
So you can see that those kind of match. Sometimes with healing. For instance, if you in Floriography send somebody a mushroom, it means suspicion. And many mushrooms are poisonous, so you need to be suspicious of them.
It means suspicion.
Yes.
Is insane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
ask anime what mushrooms mean. It ain't suspicion.
It's not.
I'll tell you that right now.
Also, pop culture at the time in like the Victorian era. So like if you sent a pineapple, I know it's a fruit, not a flower. I didn't make this stuff up, guys. Pineapple means you are perfect.
In my mind, somebody just like pins a pineapple. Like a whole pineapple.
Yeah.
Well,
like
you gotta think,
pineapple.
in the old days before we started messing around with the genetics,
they were probably
and
much
selectivity,
smaller.
pineapple was probably
still.
like some cute little thing. Well, don't they make tiny like bouquet pineapples?
I don't know.
I think there's some form of dwarf like
maybe
like bouquet
but did
pineapple.
they then? Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
So pineapple meant you are perfect, but also like in real life, pineapples were really hard to get back then. So you'd really have to be perfect for somebody to like gift you a pineapple.
Sure, yeah.
Like that's like a big moment there.
Yeah. Nowadays pineapple means if the house is a rockin', yeah, you can come a knockin'. It's fine. It's all good.
I mean, there's some other things that pineapple means, but we're not going to talk about those here. Also, plant behavior. So, for instance, if you were to send a plum branch, like a branch from a plum tree, it would mean keep your promises. And plums are notoriously fickle about producing fruit and are often bred to produce flowers only. So if it's, for instance, a variety that produces only flowers and no fruit, that's kind of like not keeping your promises, because flowers on a fruit tree mean that they promise that fruit is going to come. Yeah. Also play on words. For instance, ice plant means your looks freeze me.
What's
hilarious.
Yeah.
I think about that all the time now.
Ice to meet you, bro.
Yeah, ice to meet you. The name of a floss that we have in our Etsy shop.
Yeah, right.
And mythology. So Iris, the plant means a message is coming or is here. And Iris is also the Greek goddess of rainbows and the bearer of messages from the gods.
Yeah.
So these meanings, they're not related to those in the Japanese art of Hanakatoba, which is another form of floriography. We're mostly talking about Western floriography here.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course. That's going to be like profoundly different. Like what the French do and what the English do, real similar. But
yeah,
that's also because they're separated by like a lake.
A really big lake.
They've been messing with each other for like a long ass time. It ain't that big no more. Yeah.
So for our suggested reading, I have found a copy of The Sentiment of Flowers, or The Language of Flora by Robert Tyas? I don't know. Tyas. And this is the English version of that floriography book.
The French
it's
one.
Actually much longer and in-depth than I was expecting when I first found it.
Sure.
So it contains illustrated plates and scientific names, so you can actually like really accurately tell what kind of flower it is. It also has common names. Some of those are not the same as we would call them today.
Absolute bonkers.
And some of them are also a bit racist. So yeah.
Wow.
And they also have generally
Europeans.
short paragraphs about why the flower was chosen for its meaning.
Yeah.
And in particular, I counted like 8 or 9 species of rose that they talk about. They're really into roses.
Yeah.
So that will be the suggested reading for this particular Sabbat. So this book I found for free in the Cornell Library. You will find a link to that in the description below if you're watching on YouTube, and in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast.
Yeah.
Although you might just be able to Google Cornell Library Sentiment of Flowers, and that might pull it up automatically. But I highly recommend that you take a look at it, because it can certainly be a supplement to the magical correspondences if you're looking for correspondences, or just an interesting thing to take a look at.
Into like flowers and bouquets and stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, and really let this be your challenge to sort of make flowers a part of your magical practice.
Yeah.
Because flowers aren't just for they're not just for bouquets anymore.
And not just for eating.
They are also not just for eating.
Yeah.
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 So, there's also
But you
that.
could arrange a magical salad of flowers.
You absolutely could.
So what's up with that, man?
Yeah, you absolutely could. And this would be a great time for it. And if you're looking at planting a garden or growing something, this may help to inspire you there.
Yeah,
so
plant the flowers that bring the thing that you want, to manifest the thing that you want in your, garden life or what have you.
Yeah.
You know?
So tell us,
totally.
we would love to hear what your favorite thing was from the Sentiment of Flowers reading. Obviously, when I mean reading, you don't have to read this thing cover to cover. I just kind of moved through the whole thing. And I would go to the plate and try and guess what plant it was.
Ooh, from the plate?
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So
sometimes scientific plates from back in the day, bananas accurate. Sometimes just as accurate as every single painting of a dog from back in the day. These motherfuckers never seen a dog. So, yeah, inaccurate.
Or dogs had significantly different faces in the
yeah, or dogs had human faces. A way more threatening thing to hear about. So you do you, bro.
Yeah. So let us know what it is that you saw from the book that you liked.
Yeah,
if there's
I would love
anything
to know
that you
what thistle
incorporated
is connected to.
I definitely saw it, and now I don't remember.
Yeah, because thistle's best flower. It's a real pretty flower and also a weapon.
It is also a weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely had. I've definitely had. They got thick stalks during the right before they're fully dried out because they get brittle when they fully dry out. Right before they fully dry out, you just go out and you clip them. Thistle fights.
I'm gonna opt out of that one.
Yeah. I was a child boy, so thistle fights definitely a thing, right?
But there's a whole bunch of interesting meanings that you can find in there. It's pretty interesting to take a look at. And so you have a lot of different ways that you can kind of use that. And it's a great place to go for some correspondences for something or just for a laugh. So tell us what it is that you liked from that.
Yeah. And what's your favorite flower?
Yeah. What's your favorite flower? Mine is jasmine.
Jasmine. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's definitely a thistle.
I know. Yeah.
It's purple and green. And a weapon.
But I like a lot of other flowers too. I also really like roses. I really like calla lilies. I'm very into plumeria.
I generally kind of like the less flower bouquets. The ones that just got leaves and sticks and shit. Because I like greenery, so I like...
Oh, wisteria is another favorite of mine.
Oh, wisteria is beautiful, yeah. Yeah. You'll have to look up all the flowers that we have planted, because we've got wisteria plants and we have that what is that? Peach? Is it a peach tree?
It's a peach. Yes.
Yeah, peach tree. I don't know, whatever. All of those peach nectarine, all that shit is the same fruit in my head.
Well, a nectarine is just a peach that doesn't have the fuzz, and that's because Luther Burbank bred them away from that because he didn't like the fuzz.
Some people it irritates their face, their lips or their mouth or whatever.
I prefer nectarines anyway.
Peaches. Really? I actually prefer peaches over nectarines, and I feel like peaches are just peaches are one of those things that are just not as popular anymore. I feel like a nectarine is just a hotter fruit. I feel like it's a way hotter fruit, bro.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'm very into nectarines. Very into nectarines.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. See,
not as much into peaches.
I love a good peach. But again, it's got to be a little bit before it's all the way ripe. I don't want none of that smushy ass peach shit.
Oh no, I want a juicy peach.
No, I don't want that. It should be it should have almost an apple snap. It should be a bit tough.
That's not okay.
Yeah. It's the way that I eat. I prefer things a little underripe.
Okay,
you know how I eat my bananas?
You prefer your bananas so unripe that by the time we buy bananas and get them home, they are not unripe enough for you.
Sometimes, yeah.
More than sometimes.
And as soon as it gets outside of the stage of ripeness that I'm willing to eat, then that shit is forgot about until it becomes banana bread or chicken food.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
because every time
we buy
bananas,
It's so gross.
Yeah, every time we buy bananas, I end up having to eat them
Most of
because
them, yeah.
no, all of them. The last 3 times we bought bananas, you have not eaten any of
That's
them.
fair. That's fair.
And I like
forgetful.
bananas; they're fine. But
They're fine. Don't worry, they're fine.
I mean, that's how I feel about bananas. I like them; they're fine. I have lots of feelings about bananas.
Yeah, no,
It's
just
mostly
a
that
banana.
they're fine,
It's mostly that they're fine.
unless they're a banana flavored thing, in which case, not fine.
That's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. Banana bread being the only caveat there, and generally that's a love-hate relationship. And I only
banana
eat it from
bread.
people that I truly love and trust.
Oh, I fucking love banana bread so much. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I put a bunch of shit in it too. I make my banana bread is like 90% fruitcake, man.
Yeah, I know.
I just like jam a bunch of crap in there. So, yeah, I love that stuff.
Yeah. So, because flowers are generally thought of as more of a decoration than a like component, we have some ways that you can work with flower magic yourself. So, as we've said, you can use correspondences or floriography to incorporate flowers into your practice.
Yep.
And you can do that in a variety of ways. So you can, if you're wanting to do a spell, you can look and see what flowers would help that. Or if you want to make a salad of flowers, now you're making magical foods.
Food magic.
Food magic.
Food magic.
You can also like plant flowers, that you have that you want to grow, that sort
You
of
can
thing.
dry them and then use them as like a dry bouquet in like on your altar space.
Yep.
I have dried flowers and then like gently taken all of the petals off of it
Yeah.
and then kept the petals as like a potpourri, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like in my altar space. In fact, I have a little like wood sake box, like like little wooden cubes that you drink sake out of. I have one of those full of like very, very, very dark red, nearly black rose petals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely. You can also use flowers as offerings themselves, either in like a vase somewhere or dried, like you're doing with the petals, or any sort of variety of ways. And most deities will accept these as offerings. It's not like it has to be just it's not like it has to be just Persephone or just flower deity.
Oh, sure, totally. Well, because you got to think if a flower's got like a use, then you're offering them a useful thing. Like, what's the difference between offering them like a food or like a stuff? But also, like, what if the flower is a color associated with this person? Or like, what if it's a flower that you like went out of your way to buy or grow for this person,
or
for
that
this
you
deity?
thought was
or that
especially
you were just
cool.
like walking through the grocery store past the floral department and were like, Thor would like those flowers. And you get those flowers for Thor. Like, everybody can have and enjoy flowers. It's not like just a girl thing. I know that that's an absurd thing to have to say, but
it's pretty culturally embedded.
You got to say like a bunch of shit these days because people are stupid. So like, yeah, like everybody enjoys flowers. Everybody can like flowers. Like, it's the thought that counts. Remember that one?
Yeah.
So
you can also use flowers to connect with a deity because they like a certain flower more, or your ancestors. Like my grandmother had a very particular flower that she loved to grow. And so that's a way that I could get closer to her spirits. So you've got that also that you can kind of do in addition to that. You can also look at arranging a bouquet of flowers as a devotional or a meditative act. That's something that I've actually been doing a lot.
Yeah.
In the last couple of years, as I have been, I used to always be this kind of person that was like, I don't want flowers. They die.
Yes, everything dies. That's
Everything.
how time works.
Yes. But over time, I've realized that that's kind of like not really a great reason to not have something that I enjoy in my life.
Yeah. Plus, it's not, it's not that expensive of a hobby in the grand scheme of things.
It's really not.
Hey, you know what's a way more expensive hobby? Plants. Ask
not wrong.
her.
Yeah.
Because she has to support my plant addiction.
It's a lot.
It's so many plants.
It's so many plants.
Yeah. We just went to go get like dinner and beer tonight, and I bought a plant.
He tried to buy several
I almost
plants.
bought 3.
I
Because I wanted 3, and she limited me to 1.
I told him he could get 1.
So sad
yeah,
marriage.
but you can also it's not. But you can also use them as like a devotional or meditative act. So I am by no means any sort of professional level florist or fancy Instagram bouquets. But like when we go
flower wizard.
Yeah, like when we get a bouquet of flowers, sometimes from the grocery store, sometimes locally, then
local
I will
wildflowers
I'll just like spend a couple of hours and just like take my time and clean them and cut them and make them pretty and then put the bouquet in places. And sometimes it's multiple bouquets.
Because you're taking the time and like cleaning them and cutting them and like trimming it back and like, you know, making sure that the water is like the best kind of water, or, you know, like putting whatever the stuff is that we put in the water to like keep them alive for longer and all this kind of stuff. Like I feel like the bouquets that we have last like, or the flowers we have like in vase last like a pretty bananas amount of time.
They really do. Actually, I'll tell you guys my secret. And that's when you so we often get flowers from the grocery store. And I know we should probably buy them from local places. And we do when we have the ability to do that.
Local flowers, like literally every single week during the time when they're available.
Yeah. But I usually buy 2 bouquets at a time, unless we're getting them from our local person that has a CSA box, because they give me 1 bouquet and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I will often buy 2 bouquets. So whenever
if you have a CSA box available in your area, check to see if they also do wildflowers, because we get a bouquet of wildflowers with each one of our like CSA boxes every week, and
pay
it is
for that.
Oh yeah, we like pay for it and stuff. But like it's awesome, dude, because they're like local wildflowers, you know. So like it's really like, honestly, it's so much prettier than like the shit that you get at like the Safeway and stuff.
It really is.
The big like box
it really is.
Store flowers.
And I like the standard flowers, but I love the ingenuity almost of the like other bouquets, and they have things that I wouldn't necessarily buy in a bouquet from the store.
Sure.
Not because I don't like them, but just because I wouldn't think about that.
Yeah.
So what I do is we'll often get bouquets from the store, and whenever you get the bouquets, you get those little like packets of the stuff, you know, the like stuff you put in the water.
Oh yeah, they got like a powder packet.
Yeah. Okay, you can also pick those up from the floral department at the grocery store. Trust me, they definitely don't care. If you need them, you can usually grab extras.
Yeah, you can generally just like ask whoever's working the counter and just be like, hey, like this like either like this bouquet doesn't have the packet of juice, or like, hey, I'm splitting this between like 2 vases. Can I get like a bonus packet of juice?
Yeah.
You know?
And I don't know, our grocery store just has them in like a bowl of
they're just like whatever about them. Yeah.
So I use a packet of those, and it says the packet is good for 1 quart of water, which is 4 cups. So I get out a Pyrex measuring cup, and I do 4 cups of water, and then I put the packet in. And then we also have this liquid that's like a fertilizer. It's called Super Thrive. Also, we're not sponsored by them. I just happen to love
it's
their
just
products.
the one that we use. It's like a standard, I don't know, how do you describe it? Like a 1-1-1 fertilizer, a balanced fertilizer.
Ooh, I have no idea at all what its like thing is.
I'm pretty certain it's just like a 1-1-1. Super Thrive is like used for everything. You can use it for your vegetable garden, you can use it for your seed starts, you can use it for your flowers. It's like a nice like middle of the road universal fertilizer.
Yeah. And I keep like a little like disposable dropper with it, because then so I take my 4 cups of water with the powder in it, and then I take 4 drops of Super Thrive, 1 drop for each cup, and then put that in there, and then I use that for however many vases that I'm using. Yeah, which is sometimes 1 and sometimes 4. Sometimes we have a lot of flowers. Sometimes we don't have as many.
And if you make your water and then cut up your flowers and start prepping your flowers, it'll give time for the water to sort of like degas.
Yes, and that's exactly what I do.
Which will cause the chlorine to there's obviously we can all drink tap water if you live in a place where you can drink tap water. I know that we are dealing with some stuff in this country right now, but tap water has like a mild amount of chlorine in it. So fresh to that, huh? Yeah. Okay. But so that helps just like degas it and stuff. I'm a leave cups of around water crazy. And my cup of water next to my laptop, I can taste the water tastes different in the morning after it's been set out all night, because I didn't finish my water or whatever. So yeah. So yeah, if you just like prep your water before you get
so I
into
prep the water
flowering.
first, and I pour some of it, just like a little bit, into the vase. And then I cut all the flowers so that they're pretty. I always take off any leaves that would be below the line for the vase where you can see it. If it's like a clear vase, I make sure they're above the water line. But if you have a bunch of flower leaves in there, then they're like inducing moisture. And especially if they're underwater, they're going to start to mold and they're going to start to rot. And you really want to avoid that.
Yeah, because then you're just making poison water.
So then I arrange the flowers and then I pour the rest of the shmoo in. And then the very next day, I mix up another batch of just water and super thrive and then top it off because the flowers are always the most thirsty as soon as they get in there.
Well, yeah, because they're like freshly cut.
Yeah. And then you can change the water every week if you like. I usually forget and it just happens. And the flowers usually, we have had flowers in the winter time. We had carnations last like 3 months.
Yeah, they lasted forever. They were like super healthy, which was awesome. Awesome.
And we have some carnations and lilies right now that are like 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
And they're still popping.
Some secrets for like vase stuff, if you're gonna do that, like pond stones, like fish tank rocks make great like ballast to hold your flowers up.
Yeah.
As well as to weigh down the bottom of your vessel. I mean, you just like pour them out and like rinse them. Or those like, I always think of them as Mancala beads, those like flattened glass.
Oh, yeah. The like little glass
rocks.
Things. Yeah.
You can use those. We also got some like glow in the dark rocks. They're like plastic glow in the dark, like they don't float, they sink, like put them in your fish tank with your neon tetras or whatever. So we like mix those with our Mancala bead things. I don't know what those regular beads are called, but if you know what I'm talking about, a Mancala bead, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you can always do that. Plus it helps like kind of hold them down. And if you got like a wide vase, just get a piece of ribbon and just tie a little bow to hold all the flowers together so they're not
after you've put them in the
after you put them in there and whatever. Yeah, that super helps.
Yeah. And if a flower starts to like lilies and tulips like lose their petals like pretty quickly, generally, I usually remove the stem associated with it.
If it's like dead, take it out. Take it out to preserve the ones that aren't dead because it's going to essentially like start like rotting.
Yeah.
Molding or whatever.
And the last tip I have is it's best if you put the flower bouquet or the vase in a cooler part of the room. So we know that bouquets in our bathroom, which is the coolest room in the house, last the longest.
Yeah.
And in the kitchen, they sit on the windowsill over by where we have like a bay window. It gets kind of cold there because if they're in a warmer location, they're going to basically go through their whole life cycle a little bit faster.
Yeah.
So definitely. Those are my tips.
When you're selecting flowers from the store, try and select bouquets that are the least open, where the flowers are the least open, right? And the reason why is because they're gonna last longer, right? If the flower is like all the way open, then it's already most of the way there. Yeah. But if it's like most of the way closed, like generally when we get flowers, we'll get like the bouquet that has like most of the flowers are still closed and there's only like a few open. So that way by the time like they're all open, it's been sometimes it's like upwards of a week before they all open. And so like you're getting a bonus week of flower like in your thing or whatever. And there's always like the seasonal, like, the benefit of like going to like the box store for flowers is that you kind of have your sort of like seasonally themed flowers, Yeah. Red, white, blue stuff during 4th of July and like orange and black and dark red stuff during Halloween. And, like now is like light colors and like pinks and pastels.
It's all Easter colors.
Easter colors. Yeah.
The one other tip that I have, I lied, bonus tip, is be careful of baby's breath. And that's because baby's breath is named that because of its particularly gross scent. And most of the time when you're getting a bouquet of baby's breath from the store nowadays, they are scentless. So you don't really get that, but there is
baby's breath can be not
it can be gross.
Smelling.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like a couple of years ago in the before times, I wanted I thought of it as a 1980s prom themed bouquet. Yes. I wanted pink carnations and white baby's breath. So 1980s prom.
Bold strategy.
It was what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I got these flowers from the store, and I had them at my desk at the time, and I was like, man, why does it smell like pee over here? And I was like smelling my jacket, and I was like, did one of the dogs like pee on this or something? Like, it's not me.
It's like musky and like kind of gross,
like a little pukey and a little urine-y. And then I realized it was the flowers.
Yeah,
it was
you
the
get your head real
baby's
close to
breath.
the flowers, and you're like, no.
Yeah, that's
None
exactly
of
what
these
it is.
flowers.
So if you get baby's breath, smell them at the store before you bring them home.
I would say that should be the rule with all flowers. You never know what you're going to not like.
That's
you
true.
know?
That's
you
true.
might be like, this is a real pretty flower, and then you put your nose near this flower and you smell it, and you're like, this is not for me.
Yeah, just be careful of baby's breath, because I had known that was why you called it baby's breath, but it's so rare to find scented baby's breath somewhere that you're just like, why would they do this?
Sure, totally.
Especially because they like often get dyed into a bunch of pretty colors, and
Yeah.
it can be really easy to be like, I want all of this really ethereal bouquet.
Yeah.
And then you get it home. And
And
it
you can
smells
also
like pee.
dye your own flowers. If you're feeling particularly randy, you can just put a little bit of food coloring in there with your light colored flowers.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Yeah. So we've done that. We've even done the where you like, we did an experiment last summer where we like split a rose stem into like quarters
Oh,
and put
half.
it into different shot glasses to like, so that way it becomes like a multicolor. It was very cool. There's a ton of work, but it was very cool.
Not an all the time craft, but it was fun to do.
It was fun to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So you can also visit a field of wildflowers and just hang out and be in nature, or meditate, do a ritual, kind of whatever you want there.
Sure, totally.
You can oftentimes in the spring find lists, and a lot of times even from like local news sites that will tell you like where's a great place to see wildflowers in your area. So that is a really good way to do it. Also, like a lot of parks have that, so keep an eye out for like posts on social media from parks near you, or maybe go to a larger one. Like I know the National Park Service, like the national parks, they do like a list of places you can see wildflowers every year, and it's like from a bunch of different states and stuff. So you can find that sort of thing too. We're definitely going to do that. You can also plant flowers and tend to them as a devotional act. The flowers themselves don't have to be inherently magical or adding meaning and correspondences. It can be just something that you really like.
Yeah.
But if you want to add that to get the extra the extra oomph, the extra boon, you can. That's both words. Boof. You're welcome.
Boof.
A boof.
Buffalo.
Yeah. And if you are not a person who wants to keep regular regular flowers alive,
Yeah. Or you have like flower allergy, whatever that is.
like an allergy to it, or you just
pollen allergy.
Yeah,
That's what I was
you can't really afford it, or you just don't feel like it.
Yeah.
You don't want the work, purchase artificial flowers. If you can't make your own, store-bought is fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have a variety of fresh and dried and also artificial flowers here.
Yeah, totally.
So that's definitely an okay. You can also do kitchen witchery with edible flowers. So rose, any flowers coming from herbs like rosemary flowers are particularly fantastic.
Yeah. Was that what are the flowers that we get on those bulbs? We get them from the CSA box. They're like little yellow. They're like little yellow flowers.
I have literally
fennel?
no.
Is it
oh,
fennel flowers?
Fennel. Yes.
Flowers. Yeah, that's what
okay.
I was thinking of.
I was
flowers on a bulb.
Yeah. That makes sense now.
Yeah.
That I know. Yeah, fennel flowers. Borage is also an edible flower, and so are pansies and violas. There's a bunch of other edible flowers. Please, before
if you're gonna eat flowers, get edible grade flowers.
Yes.
Do not buy flowers from the like florist in the grocery store and eat them. Because to keep the flowers bright and pretty and of like bold color, we often use chemicals to like help the flowers along, for lack of
as
better
well
words.
as chemicals to discourage bugs from eating
or to
them.
discourage bugs. Yeah.
Also, sometimes you get flowers from the grocery store and they have been spray painted to be a color.
Yeah.
A horrifying thing that I don't quite understand. So yes, if you're going to get edible,
Stop
if
spray
you
painting
want to
plants.
eat flowers, make sure that they are being grown in a way that is safe.
They're
Make
food
sure
grade.
that
If you go to your local florist and just ask about food grade flowers, and they will point you in the right direction.
Yeah.
There's essentially a source like everywhere for that.
Yeah.
But you have to like take the extra step.
Yeah, you can
You
also
know?
buy food grade flowers online,
Oh, sure,
dried,
totally.
of course, and a surprising amount of flowers that you use as like herbs and spices, or a surprising amount of herbs and spices are actually flower buds. So you may have flowers that you're eating and don't even realize it.
Yeah.
But definitely make sure that the flowers are safe for you to eat. Both, is the flower poisonous, and also has it been treated with anything that you need to be aware of?
Yeah.
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 Of course, as we said, you can dry bouquets of flowers and use them as decor or offerings or whatever you like. Every once in a while, I refresh my Aphrodite altar with particularly nice dried flowers, and she appreciates that. And when they sort of lose their luster, I get rid of them.
Yeah. And you can do everything from hanging flowers for drying them and preserving them, just like hang it upside down with a bit of twine. That's what we do for most of that. You can also press it in a book. Put some barrier down so you don't ruin your book.
Yes.
You can also buy flower presses, both like the wooden screw kind, and I have this like invention from the 70s that I bought online, that like you microwave to dry and press the flowers. And I know that sounds bananas, but it works.
It's super wild, and it totally works.
And
Very
I mean,
fun.
in like a day, I can like dry and press a ton of flowers, and it like preserves the color a little bit better because you're kind of rapidly drying and pressing them. It's super cool.
Yeah, it really
super
is.
cool.
It's very fun.
You know?
Yeah. You can also use flowers as spell components, particularly spell jars is a great way to do flowers
Sure,
there. And you can use flowers for color magic. So if you want to bring more creativity into your day, get some orange flowers.
Yeah.
Because orange is for creativity.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
You can also make a flower crown. Of course, my favorite. Enchant it and wear it for extra boof.
Extra boof.
Extra boof. You can also steep flowers in hot water or alcohol as a boost to your offerings. Again, make sure that they are safe for you to eat and do not contain any harmful chemicals.
Sure, of course, yeah.
And
'cause you're
there
still
are certain liquors that are actually flower essences, so that's not a very uncommon
Yeah,
thing.
what's the one that we have is
Saint Germain
Saint
is
Germain.
elderflower liqueur.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can get a lot of that stuff. Also,
Technically, IPAs are flowery alcohols because hops are the cones, the flower of the plant.
yes,
So
Yeah.
every time you're drinking an IPA, you're doing a little bit of hop magic.
doing a little bit of flower magic.
And hops are abundance?
They're associated with abundance and with relaxation
Yeah.
and sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can also add edible flowers to sugar or syrup. And in particular, not only is that delicious,
Yeah.
but you can use them in
Lavender
drawing
syrup,
spells. Yeah, because
um,
sugar and sweet things like that in spell work is usually used to draw things towards you
Sure.
or to sweeten
Like ants.
someone's disposition towards you.
Yeah.
Again, do that magic ethically. But that's a way that you can do it too. I have found that the best way to do this for sugar or syrup is to do this with dried instead of fresh.
Sure. yeah, of
Because
course.
with fresh, you always run the risk of rot.
Yeah, well, you're introducing a fair amount of moisture. You'd be surprised how much liquid is in like a flower petal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, even if it's not even like the whole bud and it's just the petals, like there's a surprising amount of liquid in there.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and as well as you can use, I see that this isn't on the list, but you can use flowers as like for like scent magic if you're in a place where you can't present like where you can't be like like first of all, if you're like you can't do like a corsage or something like that because of like work appropriate nonsense or what have you. But also like if there's not like a sort of easy way for you to kind of bring those flowers with you everywhere, or like you're not like, you don't have the thing to press them or whatever, you could always get a like flower scent extract and then put that into your like whatever.
Or an essential oil. They make these little lockets that have like a felt pad that you can add
those like
oils
aromatherapy lockets. Yeah, totally. I mean, you could just put like a drop of that on there, and then you're always carrying lavender with you for lavender magic or germaine or whatever.
No. Elderflower.
Saint Germain.
No, that's elderflower liqueur.
Regular. Put a little bit of elderflower liqueur in your fucking scent locket.
I mean, you probably could. It's got a lot of sugar. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But you could. You could. So for correspondences this time around, we have a list
like
of
a single malt, like a 21-year-old single malt scotch, just like a boop. There you go. You're good to go.
Peat magic. I guess that works.
It does work. You're welcome.
Yeah. So
Science.
I rounded up 10 of what I decided were some of the most common flowers that you could find.
I've never heard of any of these flowers.
I'm sure you have. That you can use in flower magic. So carnations, very popular flower, easy to find.
Continent only cars.
No.
Carnation.
No. And carnation.
That's hilarious.
No. I regret it all. Yeah.
It's too good.
No, I'm not going to do it. So carnations are about protection and healing, perspective, longevity. They help to enhance magical powers and achieve balance. There's chamomile. You can find this, of course, to grow. You can sometimes find fresh chamomile, but definitely you're going to find dried chamomile, usually in the spice section or in the like
teas section.
In the teas section of
chamomile
the
tea.
store. Yeah. And chamomile you can use for love and luck, harmony, reducing stress, removing hexes, and you can also add to any spell to increase that spell's chances of success.
That makes sense, yeah.
Which is one of my favorite ways to use chamomile. Daisy, similar to chamomile, not quite the same thing, but a very common flower. Nope. But a very common flower.
Yes, it is a duck. Daisy duck.
I'm also going to say no. Daisies are associated with love and purification and innocence and wealth.
Yep.
Next up is dandelions. Dandelions are used for divination.
Although they changed his name in the show.
Which
is unfortunate because dandelion, great name.
At this point, I have to say nope because that's where
you know I'm right.
But I know you're right.
Yeah.
I have to say nope. I'm contractually obligated.
Fulfill the terms of your contract.
Yeah. Dandelions are associated with divination and luck, summoning spirits, defeating negativity, and of course, helping wishes come true. There's lavender, so that you can work some lavender magic. Lavender's great for clarity.
I don't know what that meant. Lavender magic sounds.
Well, that's what you
sounds
said.
Like it's doing something. Oh, maybe I did that.
You said lavender magic.
Listen, if it happened more than like 30 seconds ago, I wasn't part of that.
Nope.
That's not how that works in my brain.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Don't form memories.
So clarity and love and calming and healing and sleep and peace. And it also helps to alleviate depression, both aromatherapy as well as from like an herbalism healing type of a thing.
Yeah.
Then there's lilies. Any type of lily, really. Those are for fertility, beauty, renewal, rebirth, because they're often coming out around springtime, as well as safe travel and marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, we've got orchid. The flowers themselves, not always easy to find, but every single grocery store you walk into will have orchids for sale. I don't know why, they just do.
It's because... You know what? I feel like the hype on orchids is that we all lived through the 90s and they were like real fancy in the 90s.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the 80s. I don't know what it was. But I can feel like there was like a period of time when orchids were like only for like the poshest. Right? And so now everybody's just like on the orchid train and orchids are just a fucking nightmare to keep alive.
And some of them are edible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, orchids are weird, dude.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Orchids are for beauty and love and elegance, strengthening memory, pleasure, willpower, and wealth. Pansies, which are like closely which are closely related to violets, are for love and rain magic and calming. Stop it with the pansies.
Stop it with
no
all
more
this
rain magic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
cut it down.
You know what I got to say to
Go
that?
into the store with a pair of shears. None of these pansies, guys. It's too wet out there.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Of course, rose, because that one is pretty much everywhere. Roses are for abundance and love, emotional healing, domestic happiness, and for lasting relationships. And lastly, sunflower for good health, vitality, protection, and truth.
Yeah.
And there are some more things that these correspondences are associated with. Those will be found on the Book of Shadows page.
Yeah.
For this episode, once you get caught up there.
Yes. Well. Yes.
Nope.
Yeah. When we get caught up, it'll be there. But it'll be there. Don't worry.
Yeah. And of course, if you have any questions about correspondences, I am more than happy to help answer those. Because I have a
and the reading assignment for this one, the sentiment of flowers, or the language of Flora, is a pretty, I imagine like a pretty A1 steak sauce source for flower.
It is a great place to use for correspondences.
Yeah.
Although not all of the correspondences really go towards like generally accepted magical correspondences.
Because this is all trying to like court ladies in the 1600s or whatever the heck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the way that I look at it,
take it with a spoonful of salt.
Yeah, take it with a spoonful of ghost exorcism juice.
Yeah. Get those ghosts out of your blood.
Yeah. So the way that I look at that is just kind of pick and choose what you want out of it. You know, there are for instance, in the book, I know I said there's like 8 different types of roses, but like not only is there like a bunch of different types of roses, but like also there's a difference between fully open roses and rose buds, and some of the meanings are a little wonky. So some of that stuff you can leave and some of that stuff you can take. It's just kind of up to you and your practice and how you want to practice, that sort of thing. But I generally don't consider all of those meanings strictly magical correspondences.
Oh, sure. Certainly. Those are like courting in the 1600s correspondences. And then if you need some magical help, just, shoot us a message.
Yeah.
You know? But, so that's flowers and such.
Floriography. No.
Yes.
Nope.
Next up, pub chat. Next time we're doing a pub chat. So, not this time, but next time, pub chat.
Yeah, next episode is pub chat.
So stay tuned for that. Those are always fun. That's where I pose a question, and then we talk about that question.
Yeah.
Unresearched and unscripted, and generally that question is based on some nonsense that we saw online, or that somebody sent us a question, and it's just a chance to sort of like hang out and chat, you know, and they're like a shorter form thing. So keep up with that, or check that out when that comes. And so that's what's up next. Speaking of like getting the full list of correspondences and the Book of Shadows pages, those are all available on our Patreon.
Yep.
So we have Patreon. You can check that out and support us there. We'll give a quick shout out to our patrons, Alan, Miranda, Helena, Alexa, and Somewhere. Thank you very much. You guys are the best. Stay awesome, y'all.
Thank you for helping us do what we do
better
every time.
You keep us inspired to do better every time. We're working on more lights and more everything. It's always changing. It's an ever-changing field of nonsense. Jesus.
And resources. To do the research.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you, patrons. And if you'd like to support us, that's the best way to do that is over on Patreon. And of course you can always like check out like our, follow us on social media and check out our Etsy shop and all that kind of stuff. All the links for that stuff is going to be below. So don't worry about that stuff. I think that's it. I think that's everything.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I just had to say it one more time.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. I mean, listen, this podcast can be longer if it needed to be, but you don't want that. Trust me, you don't want that because it's mostly just going to be weird bits, all weird bits. But yeah, so this has been Ostara 103 flower magic floriography, Florioscope. But either way, I've been John Norgrove. This has been Julie Norgrove. This has been the Horn
and Cauldron
podcast. And we will catch you guys next time. Stay magical, folks.
Yeah, and don't forget, Breathe in self-confidence and breathe out self-doubt.